And that is why young leaders with a progressive mindset in leadership, like us, are now rising up to support your vision and mission. So, for us, as your foot soldiers, Senator, what we need is just clear directions. And when the right time comes, we have an army that is going to take over. Otherwise, I'm in solidarity with the various demonstrations that are still going on until we get justice. And one more thing, DAG Lagat must vacate office and be in prison immediately. Thank you.
Our agenda basically is a simple one. The agenda to set up the Second Republic, because the First Republic ended with the repeal of the old constitution, which had been amended many times. We got a new constitution in 2010, but if you look at what is happening, these people have refused to implement that constitution fully. They are basically cherry picking what they can implement, what does not take away. They are avoiding things about accountability, limitation on power, and stuff like that. So the agenda we have is just to implement this constitution and then go forward and begin. That's the way out of the hole, is to implement the constitution. Then the way forward is to pursue prosperity. How do we make Kenyans rich? How do we make our taxes work for us? What do we need to open up the Kenyan to position Kenya globally as an effective economy, both regionally and globally? What kind of things do we need to be attractive to local investors, first of all, to our own people? How do we make Kenya work for the local simple investor who wants to invest and doesn't have to go to a Ponzi scheme? Even before you talk of foreign investors, how do we make Kenya an environment for investment? So that's why I've spoken about things like separating the treasury from the Ministry of Finance. And that one is a thing that is in the Constitution, Article 225, Clause 1 is very clear. We need to set up the treasury under its own act of parliament. And that will restore the power of the past to parliament so that MPs don't have to run after the president begging this, begging that. They just go to parliament, slag it out with each other, make a budget, and give the budget to the president to implement, or the governor, if it's a county assembly, and then they supervise that implementation. We get rid of things like CDF and what have you. Go to the Constitution, you look at Article 53, Clause B, it says every child is entitled to free and compulsory education. Basically means that who charges fees? It's the state. So basically it means that as you vie to be a leader, Evans, you must work out to understand that you must make your people understand that the question of paying school fees in Kenya for a child, and that's anybody under 18, is unconstitutional. You can refer them to Article 53, Clause B. And parents should know that when that money that is supposed to go to school fees is liberated, they'll be able to use it for other things and to run the economy. So the Ministry of Education should not be making a fee structure. That whole thing is unconstitutional. So those are the kind of things we want to do. So to get in and just say, let us implement this constitution. And even before we get into formal power, we must get into what they call de facto power. We must become the visible power before we become legitimately the power. We must begin governing Nairobi, just like yesterday you said, and me, governing Kenya. Yesterday you said it's a shutdown in Nairobi. You exercised de facto power. Nairobi was shut down. So there are things like those. We are going to say that the presidential election will terminate at the constituency, and that will have to happen. So that will be de facto power. They can pack, let's say, the IBC, whoever they want, but we shall make sure that using the technologies we have and whatever, we will call the election at the county, at the constituency level. We will not wait for anybody to go to Bomas to bamboozle us with Tanzanian choirs and what have you. So our salvation lies in implementing the constitution, and we have taken up 4 key chapters, other than the chapter on other than the chapter on chapter 1 on the sovereignty of the constitution, the sovereignty of the people and sovereignty of the constitution, we have gone down and looked at the Bill of Rights, the chapter 4, the Bill of Rights. We have looked at chapter 6 on the leadership and integrity. We have chapter 7 on elections, how power is acquired. Very, very critical. And we are going to make sure that we are implementing that before we get into office by not waiting by being a de facto force. They have also gone to chapter 12, public finance. So that's chapter 4, chapter 6, chapter 7, and chapter 12, public finance. There have been a lot of economic crimes that have been committed. We are thinking in a debt. If you have read my petition, I've been able to demonstrate that we have overpaid the legitimate debt by close to 3 trillion shillings overpayment, and yet we still owe some 10.7 up close to 11 trillion shillings. So when you look at that, the 2.3 trillion that you have overpaid and 10.7 that is outstanding in our books, you find that we have got this odious debt of about 13 trillion for which somebody has to pay. So we are going to deal with those people. We are going to clean up this thing. You realize that this country, there are a lot of things that have been grabbed. You look at the ADC farms. ADC was set there for research and development in terms of agriculture and what have you. They were all stolen by do no gooders. So for me, I think that we should put our minds on implementing the constitution. If you look at Article 40, Clause 6 in the Bill of Rights, it says the right to property does not extend to illegally acquired property. So people have to demonstrate how they acquire their property. Where we live in a country where the richest people have either been politicians or civil servants. So they will need to tell us how they made their money. If they made their money legitimately, well and good. If they stole from the public, we simply say, this is a Zakayo moment has arrived. Give it back to us. So what we are going to do is to put this country back. The word republic in the name of Kenya must be given its true meaning and its true place. A republic means a government of law. A republic is a distinct system of organizing society. So we chose a republic, and if you look at the national anthem, the Republican dream is very, very clearly spelled out. And that republic today has died. So the only way to get back to it is to implement the constitution and to implement the constitution and to implement the constitution. There's no other way out. And we have to resist these fellows of NADCO who had come together to say that they want to change the constitution. I don't know to remove this and I don't know to expand the executive to give themselves jobs. And that's why we are averse to anybody who was in the NADCO process. Unless they come out deliberately and they denounce it, we're not going to entertain NADCO because NADCO is designed to defang the constitution, to remove its fangs, to remove its teeth so that it can become toothless. So, Evans, as we go forward, I encourage you to, in your endeavor to join politics, organize. Politics about numbers. Make sure you get people to understand the mission and the vision and to tell them that what we want to do is to implement the laws of Kenya in everything that we do. We want to do that, and we want to do that like yesterday, and we're not going to allow anything to stand between us and the law of Kenya as it is. I would leave it there.
Thank you very much, Senator. Ambacho Senator amesema hapo kuhusu our national anthem ni kwamba ni anthem ambayo ni foreign kwetu sisi kama wananchi. Actually, come to think of it, besides Mungu nguvu yetu, what other thing can be connected to Kenya? Just think of it. Go to the second line, third line, maliza stanza ya kwanza, nenda stanza ya pili, nenda stanza ya tatu. Hii anthem kweli ni ya Kenya ama hiyo Kenya sio hii yenye si tunaishi? We need to actualize the words, the spirit of our national anthem. It's only fair because our forefathers fought so we could have freedom, we could have justice, we could have prosperity. Matojo, kama uko tayari, tafadhali chukua mic, dakika mbili land point. And as you do that, I just want to remind you guys that kesho hawkers wameomba muwaunge mkono na tunawaunga mkono kutafuta justice, ku-end police brutality. Matojo, chukua mic. Ras G, uko kwenye sideline, kwa hiyo Matojo akitoka unaingia wewe, alafu tuna drop. Kama umeongea, toka kwenye panel ya speakers, tuwape wengine nafasi. Twende kazi Matojo. Well, it seems... Oh, Matojo, you're coming through? Carry on.
On my part here, I would like to propose the way in which this police brutality can be resolved. To me, I think there are two approaches. The first is long-term approach, which is sustainable approach. And the second approach is immediate approach. Starting with immediate approach, I strongly believe that's a very immediate approach to resolve police brutality is to make sure Mr. Ruto is ousted from the office of president through election come 2027. And I think this must be the first priority of every Kenyan who wish Kenya well. That's a first effective, immediate solution to any police brutality. Without which police brutality will continue in Kenya and will be part of normal life of Kenyans. That's one. And you must not put all your eggs in the same basket. I think you must have two approaches. One, make sure that you vote in large numbers to choose a new president, but at the same time, you make sure that you elect member of parliament from opposition side, majority. That means if there will be election rigging and you have majority in the parliament, meaning in the Senate and in the National Assembly, you can impeach him. That would be alternative. If you cannot remove him through election, if you cannot remove him through ballot, also you can remove him from office through parliament after general election in 2027. That's my my opinion on that, on actually the immediate one. But the second, which is sustainable, I think, I had an opportunity to study. I'm not Kenyan anyway. I'm East African, but I had an opportunity to study to read the Kenyan Constitution, comparing that Kenyan Constitution to other East African countries like Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda. I can say Kenyan Constitution is the 2010 Constitution is the best constitution in East Africa, but still it has its own problems. It's not perfect, and through the experience of almost 10 years ago, from when the Constitution was enacted in 2010 up to this moment, there are a lot of challenges or inherent weaknesses in your Constitution, which have been coming up here and there. So I think if the new president is elected come 2027, I think you need to make some significant changes in the Constitution, but not those changes contemplated by handshake government of Odinga and the President Uhuru Kenyatta of expanding the government and creating offices.
Land, kind of.
Hello?
Land.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm proposing that you have to make some significant amendments in the Constitution with at least among other objectives, with one objective to make sure that you abolish imperial presidency in your Constitution. Because if you study the Kenyan Constitution, of course it's a good Constitution, but you find that almost everything in Kenya revolve around the presidency. The parliament is controlled by president. Almost even judiciary, you can see that is controlled by president. So you need at least to abolish completely this imperial presidency from your Constitution. Maybe we can discuss that imperial presidency later on what it means and its implication on actually, because that has a significant contribution in promoting police brutality.
Thank you so much. I can see the news guy is here. The news guy.
Thank you, Zebedee. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I just want to say that this is quite an insightful conversation. My name is Marvin Ibrahim, but of course, people know me popularly as the news guy. Now, I have three proposals regarding the subject matter. The first one is in regards to how we can end police brutality through a citizen-led initiative. And this is my proposal. Now, we do know that the salaries that our policemen and our policewomen earn do not allow them to live the kind of lives they live. And the kinds of lives they live are afforded through bribes and corruption. And my proposal then would be to cut off the very arteries that feed these policemen. How can we do this? A zero tolerance to bribe policy at citizen level. What do I mean? Kama uko kwa matatu and you see the driver attempting to give a police officer a bribe ya 50 bob. As a matatu, you come together and say no to tukate. If it's on the streets, you see a policeman harassing a hawker, anamuitisha nipe 200, we cut off all those arteries. And that will now make them wake up to the reality of their lives and the reality of their situations. Because wako na kiburi kwa sababu the bribes we give them inawapea the ability to live lives beyond their means. But I believe once we cut off those channels of bribes and corruptions, if someone is taken to the police station, you insist kama ni bail iandikwe na tupewe official receipt ya government kwamba huyu alipewa bail, si bail ya M-Pesa, sijui enda utoe agent wapi. And we do that through citizen-led initiatives. That, in my opinion, would be the best way of instantly dealing with them. What I realize, this life does not, kama polisi. When they start waiting for their salaries from payday to payday, bila hii pesa wanakula hapa katikati, they realize that enyewe maisha tunaishi, hata sisi the government is not doing right to us, and we need to treat these people as human beings. Now, as number two, in regards to mobilization and in regards to mobilization for the protests. And I'm going to speak and
Seems like our comrade there is having trouble with connection. Corazon, you've been hanging on the line for a bit of time. As we wait for our comrade to get it together, chukua mic Corazon, tuambie machache kuhusu ni vipi tunaweza tukatako hii police brutality, but most immediately, how are we going to stand for Albert Ojwang, for all those comrades who were brutalized yesterday, including John Akarioki's son, Boniface, and all the others who are in hospital today. Corazon, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much, and thank you for providing us with this platform. It's a very sad time in our history, and as the news guy was saying, if we can try and cut the bribes that we are giving to these policemen, maybe they will realize that they are also getting paid peanuts. Maybe they will also realize that the economy is getting tougher each day. And also something else, it's so clear that these policemen are being supported and defended by higher power. Because tell me why we are on the streets protesting about police brutality. We want it to come to an end. And then they murder one of us. They just shoot one of us in the head, like straight up in broad daylight. It's so clear that they are being defended by someone else. It's so clear that they know that there is nothing Kenyans can do to them. There is nothing we will do to them apart from going to the streets, getting tear gassed, getting murdered, and getting shot at. It is so clear. So maybe as much as we try and reduce those bribes we are giving out, maybe we should also start by dealing with the higher powers that are giving these policemen the power to execute such things. What was the next question? Oh, I remember. When it comes to standing with Ojwang and the young man who was shot yesterday, we will not get tired of going to the streets. We will not get tired of using social media. It is in a point in time where social media is coming in really handy. As much as they really wanted to restrict some things, but we will use social media, we will go to the streets, we will keep fighting, we will get support from other countries, we will still win. At the end of the day, they might kill us, but they will not kill all of us. They will tear gas us. But at the end of the day, they will sit and look back and feel that we are not giving up, and they will see that we are not giving up, because 2027 is here. The power belongs to us. We will turn out in very big numbers and we will vote. We will confidently vote, and we are going to vote for the leaders we want. We are going to vote for a government that will listen to its people, a government that will not kill its people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Corazon. Quite insightful there. Eric, I see your hand is up, but as you prepare to come through, Dolphin, will give you 30 seconds and then kindly pass over the mic to Eric. Carry on, Dolphin.
Okay, I actually wanted to differ with Motojo, the initial speaker, but apparently he mentioned that he's not a Kenyan. So I think to some extent, maybe he's not understanding what is happening in the country. Like, for instance, just to clarify further, because he was talking about how the approach, we should respect the police. Who are the police anyway? I think they are human beings just like us. And these people are being paid to protect lives and property. Like, for instance, yesterday, if there is anyone, Shakira is here. We were at the Nation Center yesterday. We were praying. The protest had not started by then. And these people, they just threw 2 tear gas where we were standing, and we were actually, there's nothing wrong we had done by then. We were just praying, and they threw that tear gas on us. And you expect us, you people, to go and kneel down and beg them and do what? And there's nothing wrong that we did. There's nothing that was stolen at that time. People were just praying. We were just praying for a peaceful protest and for a successful day. So guys, it is not all about that the common mwananchi ndio wako na shida with the police. It is the police that is not taking their responsibility. They are not doing their job. And I know even tomorrow they'll still shoot us, they'll beat us. But let us pray for a successful day. Thank you so much. I'll land there.
Great. Mmesikia ambavyo amesema kwamba tunachokifanya kina hatari, lakini hiyo hatari ndo wazalendo huwa wana embrace kukomboa taifa. Tuwe tayari. They will shoot at us. They will attempt to kill us. They will attempt to maim us. They will attempt to steal from us. But then we must not cower. Eric, mic iko kwako.
Thank you very much. This is actually my first time speaking in such a forum, and I want to thank everybody when yalitokea jana maandamano, and everybody who's been on the forefront to fight for our nation. It's quite unfortunate, or it's fortunate, mimi siwezi attend maandamano since I'm not in the country. Something that I would like to say, and I would like to urge and see if we can try to solve, ni how do people in the diaspora participate in this maandamano. Mimi siwezi enda maandamano, but I can provide resources. So if we can have a way enye itatusaidia ku collect maybe funds to help with maandamano, and for people who are willing to bring a change to our country, because mtu kama mimi, I don't want to raise my kids nyumbani. I don't want to raise my kids anywhere else. and I want a country that works for me. To stand for the people, because the people are actually the ones who are funding these private companies. And my question is to Okia: how can we then make sure that we lobby for the right reasons? How, because you understand the structure of parliament, you understand the politics that go on in there. How can we participate in lobbying for change? Just not because our war is fought on many fronts. I think we should also fight to change laws so that Zizuia were to come out to ever occupy the government ever again, and make sure that they're accountable whenever they leave. How then do we make sure that we bring about this change, not just kila siku watu wakiuliwa ni maandamano? How do we, as people, how are we empowered through the parliament and the Senate to actually lobby for these changes? Because I know there are many people wenye wangetaka ku participate in this maandamano and communicate vitu zetu. Niliona jana government imeanza kitu inakaa podcast KBC na sijui bonga sijui na nani, this guy or communication. That is nonsense, and I think we should combine resources toa watu kama hao, hata kama ni kulipa programs 30 minutes in educate watu or something. That's the only way I can think kenye mimi naweza saidia as a person. And also because we have a lot of people who pia wanataka kusaidia kwa hizi maandamano, but they don't know how to. Please give us direction.
Yes, a parliament is one thing that needs to be understood in the. That's my brother Eric. Parliament is one thing that needs to be understood in terms of how it has been emasculated by an imperial presidency. Parliament is basically a toothless bulldog, if I may use the idiom, literally. And unless we deconstruct the imperial presidency, we are unlikely to get any headway, because the president, using Achebe's words, the president holds the cake and the knife. So, and you have seen MPs make a budget in parliament, forget about it, then they go following the president wherever the president is, asking him for, be it in state house, be it whatever, asking him for development, telling him that you need, if you do ABCD for us, we will, we need this road, we need that road. Ideally, the parliamentarian should be the boss, should be holding the path, should be holding the money and telling the president how to use it. But because we have failed to separate the treasury from the Ministry of Finance, and the president is the treasurer, and he has the money, he ignores the budget, and that's what he wants. So MPs have to go and bow before him, or kneel before him, or prostrate before him, to be able to be given some little money to show some projects here or projects there. The first thing we need to do is, if we were to take the power of the past back to parliament, deconstruct the imperial presidency, I'm telling you, this country will be very, very organized, and MPs will restore the way forward. So the way forward for me is that we just have to implement the constitution. And that's why I felt that a lot of things that we're talking about, be it the laws, be it whatever, of course, some laws have been passed that have been able to claw back from what the constitution says. Like the constitution requires that all money raised by the government should be put in the consolidated fund or in another fund established by parliament. You go, when you look at those amendments that were done to the Public Finance Management Act in 2014, they virtually allowed the state people to borrow money, and the cabinet secretary for the treasury to borrow money and keep it in offshore accounts, which has brought us a lot of these problems we have. So for me, there's no other way forward. There are two things. First of all, we must think of the way out before we think of the way forward. The way out is to get this country back on the foundation of a a constitutional democracy, where power is limited, where the law is king. Then now the way forward, we now come up with the structures to promote prosperity at the individual level. We come up with a taxation that allows money to remain in people's pockets so that they can invest, consume, and drive the economy. We come up with partnerships that are reciprocal, so that when we engage with other countries, we make sure that there's a direct benefit to ourselves. We look at a way of entrenching our strategic position in the region as a gateway to the region, and not losing it to new players who are coming up. We revamp our industries. We go back and begin move manufacturing. We know now manufacturing basic household goods was mainly the backbone of our economy. People are now manufacturing. People are now our neighbors. Our neighbors are now manufacturing the same things that we have been manufacturing and selling to them. We need to strategize to improve our economy by in the way of saying that we want to go into high-tech manufacturing. We need to modernize our industries. We need to set up incubation centers for high-tech manufacturing so that we can maintain our comparative advantage or competitive our edge over other economies in the region. Now back to the specific issue that we have today of the police brutality. The way forward is to show these people that we cannot be intimidated. Is to make these people say that they are not planting any fear in us, and we are stronger than them, and we understand. And we understand so the demos that have been called for tomorrow is is a step on the journey towards ending police brutality. We must take it. We must take the word to the police. We must come out in a peaceful way and make our voices heard that we are not going to relent until the culprits have been taken off the street. And in this particular case, the culprits, we are so fortunate that a top cop, number 2 in terms of the National Police Service Command, but number 1 in terms of the Kenya Police Service, is in the dock for having a direct link to the death of a civilian in a police cell. So we need to have this guy. We must put on pressure until he is ejected from the force. We must put pressure until he's prosecuted for the crimes and properly prosecuted. So we must not relent. So the way forward in the moment, is for us to stand up, come out, and say no to this nonsense. Like somebody says, we always say, when you look at scripture, you are told, sometimes you look at the read Genesis, and you just wonder, why did Adam and Eve not just say no to the devil? They would still be in we would still be in paradise. If we don't say no to these excesses of the police, we will lack a country. They'll lock us up. They'll put us back into the 80s, into the 70s, when we were not citizens but subjects of those in power. The difference between the new constitution, the current constitution, and the old constitution is that the old constitution virtually made the president sovereign, like the queen is, and therefore we were not citizens, we were subjects of the president. Today, with the new constitution, the people are sovereign, we are citizens, and we cannot allow ourselves to be put back in those old wineskins, whereby we were subjects. And to do that, we must come out in our large numbers and say no. And as Martin Luther King used to say during the civil rights campaign, if you stand upright straight, nobody can ride your back. So the way forward is that let us come out, all of us, and stand straight and face this oppressor and say no to him. Tell them we have a republic, and the republic it will remain. We are not going to allow our country to be turned into a kingdom or any other formation that's not a republic. And being a republic, everybody is subject to the law with equal benefits of the law and with equal accountability under the law. And that's the way forward for me. So come out, let us stand firm, let us make our voices heard, let us say that Kenya is not the Kenya of old and things will not remain the same. You see what you did with your cameras. You have been able to document and capture the criminals. And I've even seen for the goons, you have also been able to expose them. So that's the way to go. That's the way we need to do when moving forward. And ultimately, we'll get to a point whereby we must change government and get a government that obeys the law, a government that believes in the law, and a government that will then implement the constitution to a point that anybody who wants to be rich will see that the way to richness is in selling mandazi. But if you want to serve, if you want to go into public service, you are not going to make money through politics or through being a civil servant. That's where we must get, and that way we'll be able to secure our future and the future of our children and the future of our generations to come.
Senator, just before you go, allow me to ask you what your experience has been like, given that you spent a better part of your day with Boniface Mwangi's dad, together with the leaders of the Hawkers Association. You're a parent who unfortunately has had the misfortune of burying a child. What's it like?
Yes. Yeah, in the morning I came across a post that it said that the young man had succumbed to his injuries. So in my shock, I decided to look for a contact at Kenyatta National Hospital who was able to assure me, a doctor, that the young man was alive, although in critical condition, but stable, and I could go and visit. So I went to that place where I was able to meet the father. The father went and confirmed that the young man was alive. And we addressed the media, and we also shared the mobile number of the father for those who can support, because the boy is in ICU, and you know what SHA and SHIF are, they are going to come up with a big bill. We also would like him, when he gets out of the ICU, he goes to high dependency unit, then to the ward. We need him to go to the ward whereby he can be secured from, and he can go to a private ward where he can be protected. All those things will cost a lot of money. So I shared the father. I asked the father to share his number to the media, and I think Mutiora, you are there. You may know the numbers. You could also share it so that people can donate a shilling, 2 shillings, 10 shillings, 100, 1,000, can send to him, so that you can ensure that no interlopers come in between to fundraise for him, but he can have enough money to be able to go and care for his son. Number 2, the man is also a hawker. He hawks at around railways. He has got no means. Now, hawkers are hand to mouth. The time he's spending looking after his son in Kenyatta means he's not earning an income. So we also need to help him get some upkeep. So we did some small donations here and there. There's no need to disclose the amounts, but I reach out to my fellow Kenyans to think about that family. The mother is coming. There's an ID on the photocopy ID. The mother, we have sent, the man has sent for his wife to come from Muranga. She's also coming in now, which means she will also stop earning. As you know, when the mamas are at home, they earn income, they sustain themselves. She's called Susan Jerry. She'll be coming from Muranga to join her husband here to look after their son, the 22-year-old. Udani is called. So when they come in, they will not be earning an income. So I felt that it's important for us to do something, which is basically to fundraise for them directly. So I'll request Mudora, if I have the number, but it's on the my other phone. I don't have the phone here. If you can share the number, so that those who are willing to donate something can donate for him, and make sure that the young man is able to be taken care of, and also to cushion him from those who might want to use money maybe to intimidate him and get him stop stop him from pursuing justice. But I was happy to have met him. It gives a human face to the victim. We also met the other guy. Remember the guy who was with him when they were being shot, the two guys? The other guy, the young man, was also there. They hawked together around the Menti house. The father hawks at Kenya, at the railways, and they hawk around the Menti house. And as you heard the young people say, for them, there are people were there for various reasons. There were those who were there who were demanding justice for Ojwang. They were there who had come to steal, the goons, to beat up people and steal. And the other was in an opportunity to participate by facilitating the demonstrators with masks and also make some small coins. So they were selling masks as 10 shillings. Their profit maybe is 2-3 shillings. So they were saying, if you look at when the profits we are trying to pursue, putting our lives at risk, it means we are living very difficult lives, but we want to be law abiding. And we came to do a lawful act of selling masks that people may need during the demo. Surprisingly, the police attacked them and let the goons have a field day. They protect the goons but attack the law-abiding people. The demonstrators were law-abiding, they were attacked through the goons. The hawkers were law-abiding, they were shot at, some grievously injured. And now you have this young man, you have got these young people who are just going around their business. So let us realize that enterprise in these people and support them and make sure the young man recovers well enough to go back to his family and to go back to, and he's so young, he doesn't even have a wife and children. He's only 22 years. And they go back to their family and also to go back to their trade where they get some sustenance by serving the public hawking items. I think I hand back the mic.
Thank you very much, Senator, for that information. We'll be sharing more. And just so you know, the number for Jonah Karaoke Nyambura is 0726 116 292. He'll be giving statements and updates with regard to how his son Boniface Mwangi is doing. But we urge you to support all those who are in the movement who are trying to get this government to be accountable and to give the good governance that will move this nation forward. 10, I would like you to come in as Abaya prepares to continue this session. If you're here and you'd like to speak, Ngolep, I can see you. So after 10, it's going to be you and then Abaya will guide us. Just wave, itisha mic, utaipata. Lakini kwa wale ambao wametujoin sasa hivi, ningependa kuwakumbusha kwamba the hawkers have identified that the officer who brutally shot Boniface Mwangi yesterday is based in Nairobi. So tomorrow they'll be going to the police stations within Nairobi, starting with Kamkunji, wataenda Central Police Station mpaka pale ambapo watampata huyu afisa. Manake zile hatua zimechukuliwa na serikali kuhakikisha kwamba kuna accountability, haziridhishi. Wewe kama Mkenya mzalendo unaombwa kujiunga na hivi vita vya kupinga police brutality. Ni haki yetu kwa mujibu wa sheria. Kuna jambo lolote lile ambalo halitufurahishi. Wanjiru, kama uko tayari, chukua mic alafu tuende kwa Ngole, kisha Abaya atatuelekeza inakuwaje baada ya hapo.
Okay, asante sana Muthiora na asante sana Abaya. Nashukuru kwa wale wote. Kiswahili imeniishia, so let me just go direct to Wanjuru speaking. Welcome everybody. Thank you. Welcome everybody. It's on my space. Thank you so much for giving me the mic, Abaya and Muthiora. and it's time to end police brutality. And I've been listening since the space started. I've been here listening, and I do want to ask people if you guys really think tutafika 2027. It's just a question. Do you guys think like 2027 tutafika? Today we are thinking about police brutality each and every time, you know. Do you think 2027 tutafika kweli, you know? It's just a good question to ask ourselves. Hizi, you know, with what we saw yesterday, we witnessed a militia, we witnessed people killing goons being protected by police. We witnessed police killing a person and walking away like nothing has happened. We witnessed a level of inhumanity. We witnessed goons wakiwa wamepewa lungu na polisi, you know. And I wonder 2027 tutafika kweli, you know, watu wangapi watakuwa wamekufa before 2027, and hata kama tutafika 2027 and during those election 2027 we will literally step down. Alisema he won't step down for anybody who is saying must go. Will he really step down, you know? Will he really step down? Because we have seen a lot of goon. We have seen people, I think I would only call them militia. We have seen them. So the question is, will he really step down in 2027, or are we saying we are giving him a lot of time? I don't want to say occupy status because I want to be respectful for Senator Okia, but I think the only big medicine is occupy everywhere we are going, occupy the streets, occupy the town. Let's make sure we have, like, I think it was Dolphin who was, or someone else was saying earlier, they would do maandamanos for the whole week. If we do occupy the whole week, not in the city center, in the highways, in every Thika, Kikuyu, name them, and make sure we have made a statement, and make sure we have made we have to make a statement, guys. We have to be seen, we have to be heard. If you don't be seen, tutakuwa tunasema woi, nani ameshutiwa tena, woi, wanatupiga tena, woi, nini nini nini. Hamchoki kusema hivyo. Can't we get this once and for all? Thank you so much, Abaya and Muthiora. And also thanks to Okia Mtata, Super Senator, for going and visiting the family of Boniface Mwangi. And that was such a beautiful thing, and giving us the updates that he is alive. And we wait for 24 hours and we still keep praying for him. I've been praying for him ever since yesterday had he was alive. I've prayed for him this morning. I keep on putting him on my heart. Let's continue praying for him, guys. He should make it. And it's so sorry, it's so sad what the police done, you know. Na hatujui kama ameshikwa. We actually need to know kama huyo polisi ameshikwa. And while at it, Lagat has to resign. That's the reason we went to the street, because of him. At the beginning, he has to resign. And while at it again, as I yield the mic, finance bill imefanyiwa second leading and ikapitishwa to the third reading. I think you know what that means. We are rejecting that finance bill in its totality. So guys, it's time to make sure hata tukienda kwa police brutality to the streets again, finance bill inafaa kuwa rejected. Tell your MP, call your MP, waambie wasidhubutu hata kufikiria kuiweka tena. So thank you so much, Abaya. Bye.
Thank you so much, Wanjiru. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you. You've been also a blessing to this revolution. And of course, finance bill is unconstitutional. It doesn't appear anywhere in the constitution. So we maintain that we have to reject it in totality. Moving next, we're moving to Atulo. David.
Well, actually, Nolep was waiting to speak,
Okay.
so if we can let him have the mic, then we proceed to David Atulo, like you said.
Good.
Thank you very much. I'm Molepus from West Pokot County, and I just want to start by saying, you know, a lot of things are happening at the moment, and prioritizing our well-being is very key. And I can say with the unity that we're experiencing in our movement, we really appreciate every other effort that each and every one of us are putting in to ensure that they take care of each one of us whenever we have maybe difficult time, And yeah, we really need that because mental health and well-being at the moment is at risk. Then moving forward on what's happening about the police brutality, it's very sad to witness that in any other revolution that's happening across the world, it tends to like claim lives of people from even the time of colonization. When we were fighting colonizers, many people died for it. And I can say at the moment, what is happening in Kenya, I can say it's enough is enough. And I don't know what we are waiting for us now to move out and ensure that we put this regime out of power, because they are killing us each and every day and they are doing it as fun. And I can just say, even during colonization, they had rules and constitution, but the strong people from Africa stood up against it and ensure that they are going to fight whenever, sometimes respect comes to a point where we can say it's an end of it. We cannot be living and respecting things that is affecting us. So to me, I think it's time for us now to take power, because we have been waiting for long. Last year we were almost there, but something happened in between. But now, if we sit down and wait, we have seen our president coming out boldly saying that I'm not going to give out this power to the next person. So at the moment, as things stand, ballots should not be our option. Then moving forward, we can say like people from maybe North Rift or even the Rift Valley are like working with the government, but I can say we are suffering as few people from any other part of this country, Kenya, because a price of sugar here is the same as a price of sugar in Mombasa, a price of sugar in every part of Kenya. And being a Kalenjin, I'm a Pokot, I can say I've endured a lot. I've just finished my university. I've graduated with agricultural economics. I'm 4 years staying at my father's place because there is no job here in Kenya. And for sure, many people here in West Pokot are very willing to come out and even get more information on what is happening in Kenya. But the problem is the literacy level that we are having in our county. We are at 78% or 72%. So when you're moving forward, you have been seeing this mainstream media, Citizen TV, and all those stupid Kizeri medias trying to push the government narrative at the moment. So Kenya is a democratic country. We can come up with our own station, our own media, our own way of communication, so that we can ensure that this message and information in relation to bad governance and all this stuff that's happening in our country get to our even far end of our country, so that we can be in a good position to ensure that we are moving together as a country. Because many people even from West Pokot at the moment lack this bigger picture of what is happening in Nairobi. So to my fellow brothers and sisters who are out here fighting this corrupt regime, I can say you are not alone. And for me, the goons that show up yesterday in Nairobi, I just wish I could be there. But in case Kenya moves to a situation where it becomes like Sudan or any other part, we should not blame any other person but the president of Kenya, William Ruto, because you cannot push people towards the wall and expect them just to be silent. You are seeing what is happening in Gaza, and it never started yesterday. It started when Palestinians' lives were being lost each and every day. So anytime we get into the street, and instead of throwing now stones or even holding placards, and we start throwing other dangerous things towards the police, please, we will be doing it not because we love doing that, but we will be doing it because we're protecting our democracy, and we're working towards ensuring a better future for us now and for our kids in future. So thank you, and I hope Okiya Mtata 2027 will be there and we are going to vote for you. But if they still then, we are ready to fight. Thank you.
Thank you so much, comrade. I hope senators heard you. Thank you for your submission. Now we can move to Atulo David.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, the hosts, for such a very good platform that you have given unto us. First of all, I want to say it is a shame that such things that we saw yesterday and the previous days and the days that have passed are happening in this country, a country that is presumed to be led by the rule of law, whereby we can have state-sponsored goons, people walking, being escorted by the police, and common citizen, innocent and armed citizens are being just armed and shot aimlessly. Whatever is happening in this country, it is not good at all. And we will not keep quiet, and we should not keep quiet. And what I can say is that as citizens, or as the good citizens of this country, we should not have fear. Let us not be afraid. Me, I am not afraid. We shall not be afraid, and we should not be afraid to still stand up and fight for what is ours, because we cannot continue living in such a country whereby citizens, innocent blood can be poured on the streets just like that, and nobody is held accountable. And even Senator, I know he is aware that we are dealing with a system that has resources, a system that has power, a system that is able to do things. They have money, they are able to control things. But regardless, no matter how difficult it is, my take about ending police brutality, let us not be afraid. In any revolution, anything can happen. Me, that is what I usually say. Even sometimes when I go to the streets, I usually go knowing that I can go and not come back. But at the end of the day, we should not be afraid, because uh we are fighting for what is ours. Because right now power is in a few people, money is in this country, only a few people are eating the money, because it is a system and a complicated system. But for every Kenyan, what I can say, let us not lose, let us not be afraid, let us lose fear, and stand up for what is right, and for what is just, because innocent blood cannot continue to be killed in this country, and yet we are just silent, we are quiet, there's nothing that you are doing. Let us stand up and fight for what is ours. And for those politicians, me, I have seen politicians, I have worked with several politicians, and I've seen politicians are very cunning. But for those genuine ones, we will stand with you. But for those that are lying to the citizens of Kenya, we know your tricks, and we will not stand with any politician that is condoning whatever is happening in this country. Any politician that will not, that was in support of these heinous and grievous acts that are happening right now in this country, let him be wary that in 2027 we will take them home. And so let's continue fighting, and may God bless Kenya, and let's keep on helping those families. Like today I saw Senator with the family of the young man that was shot yesterday. Let's continue standing with those families, and let us keep on fighting, and let us not lose focus. Thank you so much. Back to you, the host. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Zalendo. And as you've said, there is no resting until we get justice for the victims. We move next to Eric. Your hand is up. Do you have anything to say? Good.
Yeah, just to say thank you to everybody, and we also need to find, because so kama huko, I'm actually in Arizona, and we have a lot of people who are willing to support, but they have no means to support. They don't have kuna wengine hawajawahi tuma pesa Kenya, they've been disconnected, but they really want to support. If we could get a way to support and also verify that this money is actually going to support the people, that would be great.
Come up again. I think Senator needs to hear you.
Well, Abaya, I actually got what he was saying.
No, but for the
And
sake of Senator,
yes,
let him come up again.
So I'm saying, so kama huku niko Arizona, we actually have a group. It's called Rebuilding Kenya, but And we have a lot of people who are willing to support the movement, but they have no means to support. Na Wakenya wengi, they ask you, na nikitoa pesa yangu alafu iende ikuliwe, because people actually really work hard for this money. So if we could get like a credible way to support this movement and verify that actually this money is going to support people, that would be nice.
Now, we have not thought of any fundraising in terms of the movement. If the movement is the general demand for accountability and the general demand for good governance, because so far what you have done, if you had me, I said that when I went to visit the father of the deceased, I gave out his number so that anybody wanted to donate towards that particular event or incident could deal directly with the family instead of going through the third party. On our side, there is a movement we are trying to do to begin pushing people to organize for the next elections to make sure that people are having ID cards, people are registered as voters, so that you can proceed to know that we have got an army going forward, that people will ensure they know how the election architecture should look like. That will happen. They will also set up their own, I think they've already established an account number, and they'll be sharing the details, the pay bill and other details of how you can donate to that particular group of youth who are going out to do that campaign. It's also going to be a direct donation to them. They have acquired a sound system, a 40-foot container truck equipped with the sound system. They've got a van and other things, and they want to go around the country in all the 290 constituencies doing a roadshow and agitating for change and telling people where we went unhinged and encouraging people to prepare to engage with this regime so that we can take them out. Remember, Mr. Ruto the other day said that he will not hand over power. So that audacity must be informed by something. Either he's panicked or is prepared to. He has dug himself so much that he doesn't care about the outcome of the elections. So we want to work on those things here and there and be able to achieve the change we are trying to achieve. So the donations will go direct there. As for the wider the wider movement, like the movement demanding accountability for the specific issue of Albert Ojwang, and then we have got this young man, Boniface Mwangi Kariuki, and to support people on the street and whatever. We don't have any, personally where I sit, there's no structure. Last time the young people organized themselves to fundraise. I don't have, all I've done from my end is to contribute what I can, like to contribute water, fuel brand people so that they are able to be isolated from the goons. So that's what I've done personally at a personal level. So I've also just been trying to contribute where I can. But if there'll be any need to maybe fundraise, there might be need to fundraise. Should we get further injuries, then there might be maybe a way of the young people doing just the way they did last time, organizing themselves and maybe fundraising online and the money going to pay for these patients. We have not yet organized that, but if we get there, I think we shall have to cross that bridge when we get there. But right now, we really hope that after what happened yesterday, going forward tomorrow, and I don't need the state operators will step back and allow Kenyans to enjoy the promise of the republic, that they can peacefully assemble and picket and petition, like they were petitioning the authorities to arrest Lagat, to ensure that Ojwang gets justice and stuff like that. So that's where we are. But if you would like to support the youth movement, the particular youth identity movement that's going to move around the country, agitating for change and solidifying the electoral base, especially with the Gen Z as the spearhead of the push, then maybe we can ask you to, they can share with you. You can share, you can give your number, you can post your number so that Mutheora can pick it. Then they can contact you people directly and you see how you can work with them. That's what I would say.
I
And
think that
just
one is a
to
bit clear.
buttress on the point, David, I'm really glad that this came from you and from the other colleagues that you interact with. We have people back here in Kenya, and for tomorrow's case, in Nairobi, where we will have a protest, we encourage all those who can. If you have a space in the CBD, you can create an asylum sort of where people can retreat to when the tear gas is too much, when they need water, or just to establish if we are all right. We had these spaces last year, people had donated them, and I'm glad that Senator has not shied away to support those who have been agitating for human rights, for good governance, for accountability. So if you're here and you have a space that you can share in the CBD, for civic and political education, even for just retreat when we are doing the protests, just anything that can help us inch closer to getting the republic to which our national anthem speaks. Tafadhali, join forces with those who are out there already doing something. So David, please take the next 30 seconds, complete your thought, and know that we appreciate what you're doing and what you're proposing.
Oh, thank you so much, Senator. For me, I'm right now in Nakuru, but when I will be coming in Nairobi this coming week, and I'm willing to support where possible. And so, if there are channels and ways whereby we can stand and support, let them be said, and we will be there to support and stand with those people that are on the street. Even me, I'm on the street. When I find myself in Nairobi, I always join the protest and all other people on the street. Thank you so much.
Saddam, I see your hand is up. As Abaya prepares to move the mic around, you'll have the opportunity. So carry on. Abaya, Saddam akimaliza, tuambie tunaenda kwa nani next.
Thank you very much. My name is Saddam Gashir. I want to take this opportunity maybe to thank everyone for creating time for this. I will get down to the point. Number one, we strongly condemn in the strongest terms possible whatever is happening to our young people and the police brutality. Secondly, I would love to encourage young people. Whatever we are happening or whatever is we are facing as a country is a political problem. So as much as we encourage young people to come out in large numbers and seek accountability from this administration, I would encourage us to also give an equal focus to political solutions that might help us going forward. As young people, come 2027, between the ages of 18 and 35 will be 17 million plus voters. With those numbers, I think we meet the threshold of us as young people having our own presidential candidate and us having elected leaders in all elective positions. So for me, my clarion call, maybe to my fellow countrymen, let us also focus on having leaders, because whatever is afflicting this country, for me, I feel is a leadership problem. Because it is the leaders that run the system. The system doesn't run the leaders. And if we are able to get more and more youthful leaders who are brilliant, exceptional, transparent, and honest, who carry the vision of this country at heart, we will be able to change the entire system, because whatever as young people you're asking for is service delivery, constitutionalism, and rule of law. So we can only achieve that by having elected leaders, especially young and youthful leaders, to take up these leadership positions. What am I suggesting as possible solutions? We have people who are more experienced. For example, we have the super senator here, Mtata. My agitation or my clarion call would be, help us organize politically for purposes of capturing power, because it is only that way that we can achieve the change that we really want in this country. Secondly, we have young people in this country, even not young, we have youthful and maybe senior citizens who up to today utasikia wakisema Ruto bila break. So for me, I feel there is a gap. Why do we have a young person who feels like the current regime is the best alternative that we have? So that's why, as young people, I'm really begging and pleading, maybe with our elders, the likes of Mtata. We have all these other thoughtful and focused leaders. Please help us organize politically for purposes of capturing power. I know it is not a walk in the park. I know politics is very expensive, but with 26 months to the next general election, it is high time by now. Even if not for the presidency, we should have candidates who are out there who feel like they should get elected in some of these elective positions. If today in Nairobi we should be having a youthful candidate who is a Gen Z or a youth or a millennial or somebody who has the thoughts and the goodwill of Kenyans at heart. So unless we take that approach, time will lapse. And now we are, as young people, we are seeing, we have the limelight, we have the time, we are being heard because the political season is not here with us. Because once the political season will be here with us, our voices will be drowned. We will not have the opportunity to address our points or articulate our issues. My clarion call time is, we have 26 months. I believe it is not really much time, but we still have an opportunity to organize ourselves politically. I'm requesting people who feel like we can organize ourselves politically. Currently, we have a loose formation. It's called the Alternative Alliance. Is a convergence of young people across all political divides who feel that we have an opportunity with our numbers. Our numbers must count for something. We cannot only be used as doormats for the legacy politicians to step on us. And I want to encourage young people. Having had an opportunity to work with few legacy politicians, I can tell you for a fact, they use our brains, they use our skills, they use our professions to articulate their issues. Because I can say here without fear of contradiction that it is we who do the graphic designs for them. It is we, the young people, who offer our professional, like legal services and financial and economic profession. It is we, young people, who go ahead even write their speeches. Why can't we do it for ourselves? Why can't we do it from the bottom of our hearts and ensure that one of us is able to capture power? And not only for the presidency, all elected positions, from the MCA, senatorial, gubernatorial, all this. And I want to congratulate my fellow young brother, I think Evans Kimuri from Nakuru. He's doing a splendid job. He has gone ahead and offered himself for the gubernatorial seat of Nakuru. So my clarion call, let us emerge, let us come out of our comfort zones and seek political positions. That is the only way that we can be at that negotiating table. It is the only way that we can send political shivers down their spines and realize that, oh, young people are organizing themselves politically. But what is happening for majority of us, we are being our efforts are being turned into maybe activism and only protesting. But I really beseech my young people, come out in large numbers and vote and ensure you seek political mandate leadership positions. Thank you.
Saddam, kabla uondoke, niko familia na game yako kwa kuorganize. We ni kiongozi. Umetuambia kuhusu hii alliance ambayo mnayo. Hebu tupe form ya kesho. Kesho hawkers watakuwa kwa streets, watakuwa wanaenda kwa police stations zenye ziko Nairobi wakitafuta huyo askari ambaye mpaka sasa hajachukuliwa hatua hata baada ya ushahidi wa kutosha kujitokeza ya alichokifanya dhidi ya Boniface Mwangi. Kesho form ni gani? Mmetupangia nini? Manake hapa watu wana commit, watakuwepo wewe na hawa wenzako, na kutambua umetupangia nini kesho.
Tomorrow we'll be converging at the archives. We'll have people from different sides of town who will come up there. So that will be our convergence before we head to the Kamukunji police station. I just heard over the news that the one is called Duncan. I think the one is called Baraza. The report that we are getting from the headlines is that they have been arrested, but we have not ascertained it because I've not gotten any confirmation that they have been arrested and they are waiting prosecution tomorrow. Our clarion call tomorrow, we meet at archives. We head straight to Kamukunji because those police officers are domiciled at Kamukunji police stations, so that we can see for ourselves, get confirmation that both of them have been arrested and they are waiting to be arraigned in court. For whatever we are planning in terms of organizing politically, you see, organizing politically is kind of very expensive. It is really draining. It is time consuming. For young people, some of us really want change. Unfortunately, we have very brilliant minds who are already aligned with the legacy politicians and the already established political parties. And this young person poses a question to me and asks, Saddam, you're asking me to join you. Okay, I can join you, but remember, I'm earning a living out of working and supporting a political party. That is an already established political party. So we have so many people who would love to join us, but their concern is, how are they going to get their livelihood? So I'm easy with them. I go slow with them, but I tell them at the opportune time, you should show up and support us in ensuring that we have young people in this country who can take up political positions. That's how I'm doing my little bit. The loose formations comprises of people from very different political backgrounds. I don't want to mention the parties, you already know them, but we are encouraging young people, come up and let us reason together. Some of these things are so complex. Imagine us, we are not fully, it's a loose formation, the alternative alliance. We are working towards ensuring that we crystallize to something that is formidable, ensuring that we organize politically. I want to congratulate my brother. Thank you.
Asante Saddam, umetuwekea vizuri. Kesho tunajua we'll have ground forces from your formation, which is awesome. Now, news guy nakuona upo, lakini Gathi walikuwa wameinua mkono. Wase, hivi ndo kuko. Jana kama wale vijana ambao walijitoa mhanga wakaingia kwenye hiyo tear gas, wakaenda wakachukua Boniface kutoka pale ambapo alikuwa amelala, we wouldn't be talking about Boniface recovering. He would have bled right there. Now, it didn't take money. It didn't take anything that we don't have yet. All it took is a big heart and love for humanity to save Boniface yesterday. Kwa hiyo tokelezea ambavyo huko, kutakuwa na kitu ambacho unaweza ukafanya. Hii movement inakuhitaji kama ulivo. Kukomboa taifa sio lazima uwe mwanajeshi, sio lazima uwe frontline. Kuna wale ambao huwa wana push the most weight kutoka nyuma. Kwa hiyo kile ambacho unaweza ukafanya, tunakuomba ufanye. Kesho tutakuwa ground. Najua watu wanauliza tutafanya nini tukiwapata hawa wahalifu. We ngoja utaona. Cha muhimu, just show up. When you show up, Mungu atakuongoza ni kipi unafaa kufanya. News guy, tuko kwako. Landi ile point haukuweza kuland wakati ule, alafu Abaya atatuongoza hapo pengine. And as we do that, KOT Sonko unaingia kwenye kuco-host, kwa hiyo piga warm-up yako. Tupo hapa mpaka kieleweke. News guy, twende kazi.
Is the news guy speaking really? The news guy, we can't hear you.
Well, news guy akijipanga basi tumpe nafasi Gathu. Gathu, chukua mic. Okay, it appears Gathu pia yuko busy kidogo. Twende kwa mwenzetu Crispinus Adams. Umekuwepo, umesikia ambayo wengine wamesema. Hebu tuambie, Scovian, na kuona pia, inua mkono kama uko tayari. Crispinus akimaliza, utupeleke na rada. Crispinus.
Okay, asante kwa kunipatia hii nafasi. Niko na machache ya kusema. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Proceed.
Unasikika?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah. Okay, sawa. Ningependa labda kuchangia tu hasa kulingana na yale ambayo Saddam amesema. I just want to encourage other people. I mean, there is this notion that for you to run as a candidate, that it's very expensive and all that. Sometimes it scares people. And I think in this particular movement, all of us, we are here because we need change. And there's a lot that we've basically gone through. Like last year, for myself, I really witnessed firsthand, because I was picked up from my place, tortured for about 6 days, and later on left. I even ended up developing some disability, but I'm going strong, and that has not basically shut me down. And what I want to encourage everybody, when we are talking about these, always when you look at since independence at this particular time, there is no time that we have not had young people being in the front line. We have always had people of mixed ages at the end of the day, because also looking at the requirements for the registration of the political parties, actually it's not possible to register a political party with the people of certain ages. Like, for example, you say you want a party with the people of the age 35 going downwards, you will be turned down, because at the end of the day, it must be in conformity with the constitution in a manner that it does not segregate people in terms of their age, in terms of sex, in terms of religion. And therefore, I want to encourage the young people in the movement also to embrace the others, because at the end of the day, there is everything that we need. Like, for example, we have got senior people like the likes of Senator Okiya Mtata. There is experience, okay? And sometimes tapping into that experience, tapping into that knowledge, it really widens somebody's understanding. And also, I don't believe in this notion that maybe there's a people of a particular age who have got integrity and they are honest just because of their age. Because at the moment, when we look at parliament, especially the current parliament, I think this is the parliament that has got the highest number of young people compared to the other parliaments that we have had. But looking at the young people in parliament, their performance is quite dismal. Most of them are never in the house. Many a times you look at the parliamentary chambers, I mean, the seats are always empty. And what we must do at this particular time is to embrace everybody. Let's talk to the GenZs, let's talk to the millennials, let's talk to those other people that are above that particular age. Let's bring everybody, because you see, at the end of the day, what counts in politics is numbers at the end of the day. So you won't go to the ballot and say that, for me, I only want probably to be voted in by people of this particular age. But when we bring together people and share the kind of change that we need, like with me, I've been going to places and I've been sharing with everybody. Even if I get somebody who is 70 years, I still share with them, because I strongly believe that come the time of election, we need all these particular people. Then I also want to encourage us and not sometimes to be very emotional, because one of the things that has failed us as a nation when it comes to bringing change is that sometimes Kenyans are very emotional. We become so emotional, and in the process of being emotional, sometimes we end up making the wrong decisions. Because like you have seen from the protests that we have had, there are a number of people sometimes who have been on the front line. I don't want to mention them. But at the end of the day, you find that within a very short time, when they gain publicity, popularity, they are invited into the media houses. And at the end of the day, you find that they come up with something else different that really do not conform to the kind of struggle that we have been fighting for. And therefore, let's be realistic in everything that we do. Let's put emotions behind so that at the end of the day, we focus on the changes that we need. The issue of police brutality, it's not something that's gonna end in a day, but we have to continue pushing because we know that the origin of this particular character of the police is actually the origin of their training. Now, when we look at the police that we don't have a police service. What we have in Kenya is a police force that was instituted by the colonial administrators. So because when they were training them, they are trained basically to go and terrorize, at the end of the day. But I believe that when we have the change that we need, when we elect the right leaders, at the end of the day, we'll be able to come up with a system whereby we can actually have the change of training in terms of the curriculum, in terms of the way the police are trained. So because of the psychological manner in which the police are trained, at the end of the day, they end up producing an animal that is meant to terrorize other than basically offering that particular service. And that is why we have got these particular issues. But I believe as we push, as we go even to the streets tomorrow to demand for the rights of, for our rights and say no to this particular police brutality, with the time as we continue, I believe that the moment will come in 2027 when we get all the leaders in the right places. These things will be automatic because the major problem here is that the constitution is not being followed. 2010 constitution, actually we don't need even to make changes to the new constitution. If it is implemented 100%, definitely we'll have a new Kenya. And at the end of the day, when everybody is following the constitution, we'll not have most of the issues that we have. Lastly, just mentioning something like in the budget, whatever we had, you find that many a times the money is allocated to particular vote heads in the budget. Like, for example, the sector of education. Education in Kenya today is one of the areas that is overfunded. But you see that money does not reach, it does not get to where it's supposed to get. Most of the money for the Ministry of Education remains for education remains at the ministry headquarters. And whatever goes to the TSC, if you calculate in terms of the teachers that we have, the workforce, you find that there's always there are billions that remain unused, and that is what makes the deficit. It makes it appear like there's nothing that has gone there. So all these issues are put together. If we get the right leadership in place and this constitution is implemented 100%, I believe that everything will be okay. It will be possible to have free primary and secondary education. It will be easy to have the proper, characters or the proper approach by the police when they're handling people. And we'll have a new Kenya. So let's push on. Let's not give up. And let us continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And even as Senator said, our major agenda is to ensure that we are implementing the Constitution 100%. We don't have to change it. It is enough. The only thing left is us to implement it. Thank you so much. Scovian, you've been here. Take the mic kindly.
Am I audible enough?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, I hope everyone is fine and okay. I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Okiya Mtata, for everything that you've been doing for us Kenyans. We really don't take it for granted, as we've seen you in courts and all that struggle, and at the end of the day, we are following the same footsteps, and we really appreciate everyone that has always been coming out to fight this regime and the people that does not follow the constitution. On today, my emphasis is on the police brutality end. And I'd like us to just be our brother's keeper, because we need numbers really, and we need to watch out for each other, even as tomorrow we meet in the streets, and even as we continue to fight this government that of the day that does not follow the rule of the law. So when tomorrow we are in the streets, maybe we see someone is being hurt, let's just be there for each other. Let us look out for each other. Let's not allow the goons into our midst, and even the police officers. When you see someone doing something wrong, at least record, tell someone else who's around you. Let's not allow other people to get hurt when we can help. Let's just act as fast as possible to be our brother's keeper. That's all I'd want to say, and I really appreciate being in this kind of spaces where we can share and learn and enlighten ourselves on the Constitution and the rule of law. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Scovian, and see you tomorrow. We must show up for our compatriots, because it is wrong to kill someone. It is wrong it is well stipulated in the Constitution. No one is above the law. And what we want is Lagat must resign properly, and he has to be prosecuted. We move on to justice for all. Take the mic.
Yeah, I appreciate for the opportunity to speak, and I want to thank the host, Senator Mtata, the co-host, and everybody that has submitted. I think largely what really I wanted to submit, most people have spoken, so I won't take much of the time. But to continue agreeing with everybody that we have to agitate for good governance, and especially the aspect of police brutality. It's something that has tainted our nation beyond the borders. And I think that's one thing that I really wanted to raise. The second point that I wanted to make is that how do we make sure that people don't take advantage or don't weaponize the kind of anger, frustration, and the challenges that people are facing to use it just for their own benefit. Because what I've realized is that the government has perfected the art of weaponizing the anger and using it as a commodity for them to move forward. And some of the people that, 1 second. Are we good at 120? We're good. Okay. My apologies. Okay. Yeah. My apologies. I probably have to come back. I really apologize for that, because I was just in the middle of something and I have a contractor here. So I'll be right back. Sorry.
All right, we'll be here waiting. So,
can you hear me?
Yes, who is speaking, Gaza?
I've been trying to connect. I'm sorry about that. My points are they're shorter. First of all is, we have to find a way, especially for Senator, how we'll deal with the media, because I believe last year, I believe the public had done a coup, and they were able to break us up. And once they broke us up, I believe they have been plotting on a way to take over the resistance. And what I believe is they're using the media to fight us or to kill us off and make us seem like we don't have plans and we don't know where we're heading. First of all, I'd like to ask the senator if he can try and focus on a way in which he can lead the media to support and show that we are a movement and we are coming, because I believe here we might be 100,000, 500,000 for the cost, but everyone wants change in this country. And the only way we can bring about change is if we can use the media to bring out the message, to bring out the clear, to show that this movement is real. And even because I believe the government right now, their weapon is 2027. They are trying to use people like Matiang'i, they're trying to use and other leaders to kill this movement. So if we can find a way to make this movement work out before the year 2027, before the elections, because right now they're already changing the narrative. So if the senator or another like-minded leaders can find a way of how we can maybe overthrow or do something, or the people can take over things and the narrative, it would be quite advisable, because the ballot should not be the option. Because if we leave the ballot as an option, 2027 might be against us. And because I don't believe that people like Matiangi and the likes will help stop this brutality, even if they get to where they want to be. The only way this brutality, only way we can deal with the executive, the only way we can deal with parliament and everything is if we overthrow the whole system, because all these people have been reading from the same script. So I think as much as we want to focus on 2020, we are talking about 2027, we have to do things now. The sooner the better. So that is one of the things. Another thing, we should start thinking of how we should do private arrests or prosecution for people like goons, for politicians who have been stealing our resources and things like that. We should also focus on things like that. We should document every event. It's illegal, because last year I remember there was a high court ruling that police officers during protests are not allowed to wear masks. We should document all these things. We should try and unmask all those police officers, and that way we will be able to have that way we'll be able to run and protest in peace. There are many ways we can deal with the police and their tactics, so we should start engaging like security agents, former military people who are clear on the constitution and what the police should do and what they shouldn't do. We should use such things to our advantage. So if we can bring in such people to advise us and show us the way forward, I think it will be of help to the movement and what we're trying to achieve. Because I think if we really want change, I think the government and the media are really, really, really working against what is going on. So we have to do it now. We should not focus, as much as we want to focus on 2027. If we give it to 2027, we'll have died. People will have lost hope. The government will try and run the narrative. It's either this or that, and they'll kill opportunities for the leaders who we have and who we know are the best for our country. That's all.
Thank you so much, Gadu. And maybe I can remind you of what Senator had already mentioned earlier. He said that he's already building a movement called Identity Yetu that will be going around the country, and I believe come next month he will be launching it. That is July. We move on. I can see Pamphil Omondi is here. You can take the mic.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And also, I want to appreciate our Senator Okiya Omtatah for hosting this space, whereby we can talk, express, exchange ideas, share, and get to know much that we don't know. Mine is just to encourage each one of us, because what we are seeing today, we are just seeing that the government is really oppressing us at whatever cost. And I've heard people saying that we continue fighting the government. As for me, I don't think if we are fighting this government, it is the government that is fighting us. We people who elected these people, we are not fighting the government. What we are doing, we are defending ourselves from the oppression. And there is nothing that we have done against the government that is wrong, because what we are doing is just to speak out what we ought to say. And having said that, I think that we as Kenyans, I think it is high time that now we call out each and every person who is siding with this government. People who are out there to ensure that they are supporting this wrong government. I think these are the people that we should call them out. We have young men and young women who are supporting this regime. So I've heard people talking about age. Yes, it is important we mention age, but also we should not forget that what matters a lot is the mindset, the perception. those people who are ready to change this nation, it doesn't matter how old you are, but what matter is how much effort, energy, zeal, are you putting in place so that we get the correct government that can implement the constitution, so that each and every Kenyan can enjoy being a Kenyan. So we ought to ensure that when we go to the ballot, let us go to the ballot not in mind with the last name of whom you are going to vote, because huyu ni mtu wetu, huyu ni mtu wangu, this is from this tribe. I think the best thing is to ensure that when you go to the ballot with the track record of those people who would have presented themselves for the election, for this post. So that is where we are getting it wrong. But I think this time around we have learned our lessons. And I can say that if you check on the flip side of a coin, maybe we can be blaming this regime, but it can be a blessing too. Why? I know somebody might be shocked why I'm saying it's a blessing. There is something that is coming to our nation. There is something great, a greater change that is coming. So this regime had just come to open our minds that had been closed since independence. So we can perceive this regime just as an eye-opener for everything that is happening. I think it is coming to an end because each and every person has opened up. I'm very glad to hear that men and women across ethnic groups, ethnic background, regional where they are coming from, they are waking up talking about our nation. They're not talking about our people. Apart from a few people that we know around who are just here because they are talking about my person is in the government, oh, bread best, I don't know what. Those are the few people that we ought to ignore and ensure that we ignite this thing. For those people who will be in CBD tomorrow, let us catch up together, let us pull out together, let us ensure that we take care of each and everyone, let us check on each other, because we have some people, if you don't check on them, people just get lost, because tomorrow I am sure those Sakaja goons, they will be there, because I know there is a plan, because they have taken an oath to ensure that they will injure those people who are protesting, so that they instill fear. Even the policeman who shot the guy yesterday, it was just a plan, because I watched the video from the onset. He attempted like 3 times before he moved closer. He was trying to, as if he wanted to shoot, like 3 times before he moved closer to shoot the hawker. So it was in his mind, and he was clear when he was being deployed in CBD. I think he was given a mandate. He was given a directive that he should kill, because that is the only way they wanted to ensure that the young people who are coming out they don't come out because of fear. So that was just a plan. It was not a coincidence. It was just it wasn't something that cropped up in his mind. When he came with that mind. So I think we just have to pull together, we just have to put our effort together, and let us ensure that each and everyone is safe. Thank you so much. May God bless you. May God bless our nation.
Thank you very much. Now we have just a little time left to conclude, so we can give people time to go prepare for what must happen tomorrow, which is we must push back against police brutality. Now, when you get an opportunity to talk, please land your point within the shortest time possible, so that within a minute we can move on to the next speaker. Kwa hiyo Baya, kama uko tayari, nitampatia Plata Oplomo nafasi aland within a minute, alafu twende kwa Ruben hivyo hivyo, teke tuwe na usiku mwema. Kesho tuamke tukiwa na nguvu, tujenge taifa. Plata Oplomo, mic iko kwako.
Okay, thank you so much, Speaker. Okay, me I just wanted to mention one thing. I know kuna vitu mingi tunafanya na tunasema, lakini my question is just about life and the value of life. Nataka kuambia watu, maisha ya Ruto is not more important than your life. Maisha ya Raila, maisha ya polisi, everyone is given one life by God, and the moment umekufa, you have nothing. So, kitu moja mimi nataka kusema, hata hizi vitu tunasema sheria, mimi ni polisi, na kuheshimu wewe ni polisi, as long as you respect my life. Tukikuwa na wewe kwa room na unasema wewe ni polisi unataka kuniua, tutamenyana na wewe na mimi nitakuua mbele uniue. I will kill you first. Hata kama wewe ni Ruto. na tuko na wewe kwa room moja and you want to kill me, I will kill you, kwa sababu wewe kama Ruto, your life is not more important than my life. In other words, nataka kuambia Kenyans, kila mtu ako na maisha and your life is important. Tusione maisha ya Albert ni kama ni takataka which can be paid for 2 million. How much more could Albert give to the father and the family? Hata kama ni mtoto mdogo amezaliwa leo, maisha yake iko of value, of high value. Na we should look at protecting people's life. And I remember in the Bible where Jacob, before aliitwa Israel, he wrestled with an angel all night. Na mwisho aliambia hata kama wewe ni malaika, nita wrestle na wewe mpaka unibariki. And he did not care that this is an angel ama ni nani. In other words, the constitution says that every person's life is important. Wacha na mambo unajiita president, because nimeona tumekuwa na trend saa hizi, waheshimiwa wanaongea ni kama maisha yao is higher than maisha ya watu wengine. Or because ni Albert, it's not of value. But because ni Ong'ondo Were, now that is a very senior person, we need to hold protest, we need to a national day of mourning, we need this. Ni kama huyu mtu amekufa because alikuwa amechaguliwa MP mahali, is a very more important than baby amekufa kama baby Pendo. And I think tumefika a point whereby we need to be calling cops to account. Na mimi nataka kuuliza watu wa LSK, lawyers and other people who are in the legal fraternity. I think nimeona something in America whereby if a cop does something which is illegal, because our police wamekaa 6 months kiganjo, sijui ni 6 ama 9 months, wamekaa kiganjo. They have been trained in the law. They know the procedure. Nikishika, unaonanga America, if someone is arrested, hata kama mtu ni, I saw a judge being arrested. That judge, on being arrested, she was handcuffed. Hawakusema tu vile ni judge tutatembea tu naye hivyo. Procedure inasema you arrest someone, unamweka handcuffs, you read them their rights, you take them slowly to the vehicle, you go, unapeleka na, there is a procedure to following. But hapa Kenya, polisi unaona anasema nini? Orders from above. And I think this police officer, because ameenda training, he knows the law, he knows the procedure, he knows what should be happening when someone is arrested. And it tumefika a point whereby we should be saying, Officer Mwaniki, Police Constable Mwaniki should be arrested and charged for violating rights za mtu. Asikuje kutuambia orders from above. Hiyo orders from above, next time akiambiwa, yeye pia aseme I cannot execute illegal orders. You cannot go and shoot someone then unasema orders from above. Unatocha someone unasema ni mkubwa aliitisha. Wewe unajua sheria. You are violating the law. And I think going forward, we need to look at how we are able to prosecute these cops individually, waende jela individually, ndo next time akitumiwa orders from above, anajua pia yeye atashikwa kiyeye. Asanteni sana, have a lovely day.
Shukran sana bro. Mutuku, tuko kwako. Umesikia kwamba thamani ya maisha ni equal kwa wakubwa, kwa wadogo, hamna tofauti. Tuliumbwa tukiwa sawa sisi wote. Hebu tuambie, kesho utajitetea ukiwa upande gani? Mutuku, ni kama hauko tayari. Tuko kwenye mida ya kumalizia. Kwa hiyo Ruben, tafadhali chukua mic. Mutuku naona yuko tayari. Kwa hiyo Ruben, jiandae, baada ya Mutuku ni wewe.
Haya, asante sana Abaya pamoja na Senator Okia Omtata for this absolutely amazing space mume host, so that we can come here and express ourselves and also possibly put our heads together to work out our way forward. Asanteni sana. You know, honestly, our country is at a very, very delicate turning point. And I believe, just like last year in June, we are able to chart a way forward, either to the left or to the right. You know, we have all along known that our country has been on a wrong path and a suicidal downward spiral. But after yesterday, we have all come to a realization that enough is enough, and that now is the time to take charge and to take back our country. You know, I honestly believe there is time for everything. The Bible says there's time for everything as well. I strongly believe that, and I, with all respect to everyone here, and I know everyone has valid opinions, but I believe that this time we should purely focus on what is happening now and what will happen tomorrow. I don't think this is the time to talk about the election elections next week, what will happen. We are losing focus. I think we need to discuss and pin down the protests and what we expect to achieve. You know, without any, I've not heard people talking about the resignation of the CS, who's culpable, DCI leadership, the IPOA leadership. All these people should resign because they have deliberately raped this country and also taken the country in the wrong direction. They lied to us and they have concealed serious crimes against ordinary Kenyans. All life is important. Again, also the governor for Nairobi, he needs to be compelled to resign. We cannot be discussing things of 2027 mentorship, political parties. Let us focus on what this space should be about. The protests, what we expect to achieve. You know, the Constitution of Kenya is very clear that the president can leave office for a number of reasons, such as death, resignation, impeachment, incapacitation, etc., etc. We, the people of Kenya, we have the power to compel the president to constitutionally resign and leave office. Then we follow what the Constitution says. If it is 90 days, then we hold elections. We do that. But if we start mixing a lot of issues, there are many things to discuss, economy, but start discussing all that now. I strongly believe that we shall focus and momentum and even the psyche of this protest that we are planning. We should be discussing what we'll do, what we'll achieve, how to mobilize people, how to make them effective. Are they going to be daily? What is the plan? What is the way forward, etc., etc. On my last point, and it is a question to the 2027. I think also we need to be informed. Is this election, if we get there, going to be in 2027 or 2026? Because the Constitution is clear that the election will be inside the 5th year in August, on the second Tuesday of August. That falls in 2026. I know, I think the senator had taken such a matter to court, so he needs to advise us because according to my understanding, this thing should be next year in August. Thank you very much. God bless you all and God bless our country.
Okay, there's something you've raised towards the end, and the senator would like to chime in. So if you all will give us the moment. Here's the senator.
Yes, the issue is the question of within the 5th year. In the 5th year, really, what is in the 5th year? Is something I litigated quite some time back. And there was a judgment rendered by Justice Korir, who relied on an expression in the same constitution under county governments, which said that members of the county assembly are elected for 5 years. And then they say that the elections come at the same time as my election for members of parliament. So the judge had to argue that way. But you see, to be elected for 5 years doesn't mean you serve 5 years. It means you are eligible to serve for 5 years maximum. That was my argument. But you can vacate office as required by the Constitution in the 5th year.
And that goes with the way people count. The way when you look at the way people count 7 days, you tell somebody has gone on a visit for 3 days. Usually it's the third day he leaves. If he leaves on the fourth day, that's 4 days. So if an election is held, if an election for all practical purposes is held after 5 years, and you have got a fixed you've got a fixed date for elections, which is on the second Tuesday in the 5th year, then it will defeat the whole thing of having an election in the second Tuesday of the 5th year. Because if it goes to the 6th year, then you don't have, even by a day, you violate that principle. So I litigated that matter. I didn't share the judgment that the High Court gave. I did not appeal it. The reason I did not appeal it is that I thought maybe because the law was still, I had gone too early in court, it would give another person a chance to come in. Because when you appeal, and maybe the Court of Appeal then also comes up with the same erroneous decision, then it blocks people from going to the High Court. But since I did not appeal the matter, anybody else can go to the High Court. I think somebody has gone to the High Court to demand that there should be an election in the second Tuesday in the 5th year, which falls next year. But you see, we have got a good constitution, but we need a judge. We need judges. And maybe the committee of experts should not have disbanded that early. They should have stayed on to do some training on the constitution, especially on these technical areas, so that the judges could come on board. They left it to the Commission on Implementation of the Constitution, which was headed by Nyachae. But unfortunately, Nyachae advocate, not Nyachae the old man, the son. But unfortunately, they focused more on the devolution, on the devolving functions. They never went in to address matters that affected the national government. And maybe they would have come up with a way of saying, okay, we need also to look at the judges and train them on these technical chapters, like the chapter on public finance, very technical, the chapter on elections, very technical. But they did not do that. So that's where we are. And so we have to grapple and hope that we get a judge who will read the law the way it is supposed to be. And then that way open, unleash the power of the constitution to govern this country. So technically what people are doing is that they are serving more than 5 years. Because even if you have to go by the decision of the court that MCS are elected for 5 years, and they must serve the 5 years, then you must have an election on the last day when they're in office. But then that will violate the requirement that the election has to be done on the second Tuesday in that year, because the calendars our calendar of 12 the Gregorian calendar of 12 months has its own shifting days don't fall right after at the same time. So that was all. I'll leave it, and I will just say that they have litigated, but there's room to litigate, and people litigate. I personally believe that that's the position, but maybe I went to court too early in 2018, something like that. I went to court too early, and the judges did not say what I was saying, but I'm happy that the data has come back again. So personally, I cannot go to court to litigate the same issue. And I lost my chance to appeal because I did it deliberately. I did not want to appeal. So, but now the new case that is going on, I'm pretty sure that maybe they'll be able to make better arguments than I did, clarify the matter better, and get a judge who may be able to see what they are seeing and lay down the law as it is, not as it ought to be. Apply the law as it is. That's all I could say.
Thank you so much, our beloved Senator. Now we can move to the last. If you can hear us. Okay,
Yeah, I can hear you.
go ahead, please.
Thank you. Thank you to the host and co-host for hosting this space. I know people are tired, they want to go to sleep, so I don't want to state the obvious, but I know that there are people here who have been brought together. There are people here because they're grieving, there are people who are raging, there are people who are mourning, there are opportunists among us, there are people who are looking for content, for side shows, people who are trying to derail their agenda. So acknowledging all this, it's still okay. Sisi wote ni wa Kenya. But my question, I have a few questions for the senator, two of them actually, with the acknowledgement that Kenyans are very jaded, Kenyans are tired, Kenyans are tuna feel vitu nyingi. So thinking about what is happening right now, there are people who are thinking about the now and there are people who are thinking forward. So one term that I don't like to use is police reform. I genuinely don't like the word police reform because in the past it's proven not a good thing. We've seen police reform and then we see new uniforms, or we see, oh, suddenly they have to do this identification or like wear name tags and things like those. For me, I don't define that as police reform. And currently with the climate that is here, in the ideal government, the government that the young people are looking at and looking for, what does police reform look like? And in the interim, what do we do until we achieve that vision? In the same way, Senator Omtata, you had earlier talked about, you mentioned like reciprocal partnerships. There's partnerships that are happening right now in the country. You talked about like revamping industries. There's also agendas towards that now. So I know that that's like a possible future to look like, but in the interim between now where we are doing maandamano in the streets, and just like demanding better governance, new governance that is relevant to us and the things, and the needs that we have. What does that look like in between? For me, the government that I want to see, the next president that I want to, like, currently I don't think I have a president, kusema tu ukweli, but the government that I want to see, the presidency that I want to have in the seat, is one where I think things are working. So even if the next time I want to go to the streets as a citizen, it's not against my president. And nobody is right 100% of the time. Even our next president, who I really hope and pray is going to be the right person to lead us in the right direction, there are things that they are going to do wrong. But I want to go to the streets to protest something that I'm not against my president. I'm against maybe something, some kind of policy, some kind of something. But in the interim, what are we supposed to anticipate? Even when we are out in the streets, nakumbuka last year nilipigwa kiboko moja kali na serikali, but I'm still in the streets even now. I leave my job, I ask for leave from work to go to the streets faithfully, kila siku, me and my one follower on Twitter. But I just want to know that even after we are done with fighting, even after we are done with the protest, even after we are done with like all this advocacy work that is happening, in between, what does that look like? And I'd like to request like a response that like is not like super legal for a layman like me to be able to understand and to conceptualize. And yeah, but thank you so much for holding this space, and appreciating everybody who is here and everybody who's fighting for the movement. Thank you for your presence. Thank you.
Sharon, I would like to respond to some of the things you've said because it is public knowledge what the Senator's position is with regard to the current police service that he has analyzed and established that it cannot be reformed. He is for abolishment of what we have currently. That documentation is out there. That's his position with regard to that. Now,
Thanks for that response. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just wonder even with the abolition of that, what does that look like in between the abolition and like in between what is here now, what we have now, and the abolition? Where do we stand? Apo katikati. I don't know if that makes sense. Thanks.
I think first of all, we need a police force to police, or a police service to police our streets, to police our whatever, to ensure that there's security and peace in the territory. Now, the reforms I've been trying to do is like panel beating a car into an aeroplane. You can't make a car fly. These people have came up with a colonial history whereby the state was oppressive and the state was designed to dominate and to oppress and exploit. So that's why you find that, as it has been said, you'll go to a village, you'll get a chief. I remember chiefs used to have askaris, but you don't get a hospital or a school. But in every village, there's a chief or something, a sub-chief or something like that. You'll get the office of the president is everywhere in our country, but the Minister of Health is hardly on the ground. The Minister of Education is hardly on the ground in a proper way. So what we are saying is that we may want to begin a police with a totally new charter. There has to be a transition mechanism. Right now, what needs to be done is that the heads have to roll. It's like when you live near a swamp, before you can drain that swamp, you must be prepared to kill every snake and every mosquito that hatches in that swamp, every scorpion that hatches in that swamp and comes your way. So we must steady our hand and insist that any policeman exercising excessive power is taken out, is punished, is made an example of. But in the long run, we need to go radical and start up a totally new police force from the scratch with a new discipline, and there will be a transition mechanism where the two may run parallel, but there will be a transition mechanism so that there's no vacuum, but there will be a transition mechanism and make sure that we end up with a totally new police structure that has got a new proper philosophy that respects human rights, and that enables us to look to humanize the state, so that if you look at a policeman, one thing you must notice: a policeman, he wears the national crown, the coat of arms. He wears them on his body. Even a president does not wear a coat of arms. Even a member of parliament does not wear a coat of arms. A governor does not wear a coat of arms. A judge does not wear a coat of arms. No other public official wears a coat of arms. It's a policeman who wears a coat of arms, and a military man. But the military man is cloistered. The policeman is a civilian service. So they must understand why it is that they wear the coat of arms on their bodies, and not like a judge where they place the coat of arms behind him on the wall, or members of parliament, you find the coat of arms is on the wall, or the president, so that they're able to realize that they're a very, very, very important aspect of the state. In some countries, the only time you can have a death sentence is when you kill a policeman, not when you kill a president or when you kill an MP. It's only when you kill a policeman, a constable on the beat, that you can face the death penalty. That is how sacred the role of a policeman is. So even when you go back to recruitment, we must restore the shine and recruit people who will come in to serve, not people who go to the service because they are unable to do anything else. And then we look at right now, when people are recruited in the service, there's a recruitment coming on up right now. My phone is clogged with requests for intervention. When they know very well, I even tell them, me, I cannot, because me and Kasongo don't see eye to eye. And you have to go to Kasongo to be given even a posting for a police warden, a police officer. But all the same, people are giving you offers. The last that I got today, somebody saying I'm so desperate. Help me. I've got 2 bulls. If my son gets recruited into the police, I'll sell my 2 bulls and give you the money. Or let me sell my bulls upfront. I give you the money. You help me secure my child into join the police force. And you've had the stories where people have paid through the nose to be recruited in the police force. So in a situation like that, where people are the recruiting agent is taking money, people being recruited are buying these jobs, you find that you can hardly end up with a service that is anticipated in the Constitution as a guarantor of national interests. And the national interests are the lives of the people, their property, and then the territorial integrity of the country. So when I say we need to disband this police, we begin by dealing with the command. In the short term, look at even the recruitment of the top people. In under Kibaki, when they implemented this constitution, the National Police Service Act of 2012, which was drafted under Kibaki, and you remember the Uruto came in 2013. That particular act had a very elaborate procedure for choosing filling the top 3 positions of IG, deputy IG, the 2 deputy IGs, and the DCI. What happened is that in 2014, under the Uhuru government, they amended the law to remove the security of tenure, even to fire the IG. First of all, they had to be competitive. There were requirements to be met for which to be appointed an IG. And to be removed, you had to be removed through a tribunal. So you had security of tenure. So there was that independence. Uhuru removed those things. It became a question of handpicking the IG and handpicking the deputy IG and handpicking the DCI. So they owe their appointment to the president, not to their competence, and they serve at the pleasure of that president because they removed the requirement for a tribunal to remove them. They can just be picked out on the whim of the president. So when we get to a situation like that, then you realize that the politicians have again now infiltrated the independent police service. It's no longer independent. So the fellows who are kicked upstairs are usually it's not the cream that rises to the top through that structure. It is the rubbish that rises to the top. I'm sorry to use the word, but from what you are saying, maybe the only word that we can use is that one to say that the rubbish has risen to the top. Number 2, look at the police uniform. The police used to be called the Kenya Police Force. The new constitution we pushed until it was called the Kenya Police Service. But now look at the uniform they have. They have been totally militarized. Look at these pictures. All those people, you could feel you are engaging a military force. That dressing that the police are being given is an invitation to violence. Even yesterday when I saw that guy on video, before I saw the end of the video, I thought that this guy was jumping around to try and show us some Rambo moves. He ends up shooting somebody. Now, you see, so we must demilitarize even the uniform of the police. We must get back the old blue uniform of the policeman on the beat. They had their own operation uniforms, which were not military fatigues. A military fatigue is an attire for war, is an attire for destruction. When Mr. Kanja was called to come to parliament on both occasions, to the Senate, he came dressed in military fatigues. I'm sure he owns a suit somewhere. I'm sure he has a decent officer's uniform that he will come with, ceremonial uniform that he will come with to Parliament. And in both the National Assembly, the previous day he was in the Senate, the next day he was in the National Assembly, he appeared in military fatigues. You look everywhere today, you see military fatigues. So that militarization of the police must end. They must discard the jungle attire and go back to civilian attire so that they are a civilian force, right? Even from the way they dress, they realize they are not commandos, whatever. And that's why we had a paramilitary unit of the police, the JSU, to be dressed in military attire because they were paramilitary. And they were for special purpose. They were there. They were special purpose units. But a constable on the beat in military attire is totally unacceptable in a democratic country. So you'll find that even the thinking, the philosophy within the police, on what kugandamiza, they are there to put the boot on society, to oppress the boot, to create fear. So for me, when we talk, those are the kind of the immediate reforms that we can do in the short term, is to militarize the police, get rid of those uniforms, make sure that the recruitments are on merit and things like those, and bring back the idea of a civilian service. Restore back the top command to be competitively recruited on merit, and to remove them not to be at the pleasure of the president. Because if they do not have security of tenure, then they serve under the pleasure doctrine, whereby the whims of the president determine their fate. And therefore, like anybody, they'll be defaulting to the president what he wants. They lose professionalism. So if we did that in the short term, then in the long term, we go out to see how we can go back to the roots and establish the police as a service to the people of Kenya. For some reason, it happened with the military. That you find that our military tends to realize that it serves the people. And they tend to be very well behaved when they come out of the barracks as a group. They behave very well towards civilians. But our police has lost it. In other countries, it's the military which is wrong, not the police. So we need to go back and do those short-term interventions, but also in the long term, we must disband this police, whatever it is called, and restore and create a proper police service that can serve the people, that can police a democratic society with the values that we have. We cannot, and there's no choice between our values and our security. There is none. Our values underpin and must underpin our security. We have our security because we have values. And we cannot afford to have a situation whereby we're being told without saying so that you have to choose between our values and our security. It should never happen. And we must keep Kenya as a republic where the law is boss. And all of us are subject to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator, for that wonderful submission. And thanks to everyone who's been on this space. We actually coming to the end of this space, and would like to have more of this conversation so that we can keep this government in check and also demand justice for our soldiers who've been killed on the streets and even in the cells. Tomorrow, as usual, we're showing up. We're showing up for Albert. We're showing up for Boniface, who was shot yesterday. And what we want is justice, and we want Lagat to be arrested and prosecuted in a court of law. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. Mudiora, you can wrap it up.
Thank you very much, Abaya, for being a wonderful co-host. We thank the Senator for giving us this platform so we can look at ways by which we can combat police brutality in Kenya. We're here because Our police have had these excesses for far too long. You recall that last year during the Gen Z uprising, a lot of young Kenyans lost their lives. We had abductions, and to date, justice is yet to be served. Albert Ojwang was murdered in police custody. Yesterday, a young Kenyan nearly lost his life in the streets of Nairobi when he was doing that which puts bread on his table. Boniface Mwangi was shot at close range by an officer who clearly could see that he was minding his own business. He had even turned his back to him. He had lifted his hands, showing that he had surrendered. Now, tomorrow, fellow hawkers have said that they're going to up the ante. For far too long, they have been brutalized. Apparently, it's a crime in Kenya to be poor, to be hustling, to be at the bottom of the pyramid. You've seen how young people have been treated by this regime. There's something you can do about it. You can step up for them. You can stand up for them. So do not sit back and think that someone else will be doing something. If you can, please be the one to take action. I remind you that if those young Kenyans had not picked up Boniface Mwangi yesterday, he would have bled to death. They were not doctors, they were not paramedics, they were not trained at first aid provision, but then they acted out of common sense and they saved the life. If you're not coming to protest, you can come to offer support and you could just save a life. You could just help save the face of a great nation. We are looking to build a great nation. The great nation of Kenya needs you. Come out now. Be heard. Your voice matters. Let us push back. Let our generation be the one that bequeaths to the next generation the freedom, justice, and prosperity that our forefathers fought for. Our fathers, for those of us who are millennials, had the opportunity to bequeath us land and other assets, but then due to deterioration of our economy, we do not have much to bequeath to the next generation. So at least it behooves of us to give them the freedom and justice to determine their destiny. Let us not go back into the dark era. Kesho tokelezea na siku nyingine ikiwa kwamba utahitajika, do the same. But as you do that, preach and let all those who are not registered voters register. Let all those who do not have national IDs to do so, because that vote is your voice, the voice that will bring the transformation that's required to make Kenya great. Good night, compatriots. Let's make Kenya great. Thank you and goodbye.